You know, it's funny. I still remember my first time going to school, right? My grandmother and my cousin Quasi, they dropped me off. But in my mind, my grandmother was going to stay there with me and everything was going to be fine. Man, when she said she had to go, tears. Like raindrops falling on my head. I always go back to those memories. That's how it's easy for me to time travel, you know. I have the ability to keep those memories like an elephant, never forgets. You know, and the scientists, they're doing things now where they're, you know, realizing that certain indigo children or rainbow children, they have certain abilities and they're tapping in and figuring out things and figuring out how the future is going to be and how to shape society and, you know, where the energy is going. That's why it's important for you to meditate, be calm, be humble, like a hunter. A lot of people are acting like stalkers, not hunters. A stalker is gonna be everywhere, all up in everybody's business, trying to figure everything out. A hunter, they sit back, scope the scenery out, see people move, see people come, see people go for a while, till their body get numb and then they get the feeling back in their body again. And then boom, the opportunity approaches. They get that feeling, that tingle, that unexplainable sensation that a hunter gets before the prey. You know, before they get their prey, before they finally make that one attack, that one choice. Because when you hunting, you can't, you know, like let's say you're hunting deer, right? You're hunting buck. You can't miss that shot. You miss that one shot, that buck is gone 2 miles before you even get to reload. Then maybe not 2 miles, but about a quarter mile they running before you even get to reload that, you know, that rifle. So that's why a hunter sits and meditate. You know, they might not think that they're meditating when they're hunting and they're just sitting there. Even when you're fishing, you know, you're just sitting there. You might be by yourself or you with your buddy, right? And y'all out there on the water, no fish. It might be nothing, right? You might be out there 2 weeks and you're not getting nothing, but you just go out there because it brings you so much peace. But people don't realize that is full-on meditation. You're doing something with intention and you're doing it for a prolonged period of time. Yeah, that's good focus. Focus and meditation go hand in hand, because in order to meditate, you got to focus, and when you meditate, you're focused. Now I miss my granny, but I love her, yo. She like that guardian that's always standing right there, or right there. Where's McLeish? I want McLeish. That's what I'm picturing her saying right now. Where's McLeish? I want McLeish. Sometimes my dad would just come home and tell me go see my grandmother or go to your grandmother's house. And I'd be the happiest. It'd be like Christmas just happened. You would have thought that I just got a gift. When I'm able to go sleep over and spend the weekend at my grandmother's house, you would think that I got freed from prison. You would have thought that I was off parole. I was off them papers. You would have thought. Took the ankle bracelet off. They set me loose. Nah. And then I would go over to my grandmother's house and just sit there. She'll be watching her soap operas, and I'll just sit right there next to her and enjoy her company, enjoy her, you know, Sometimes she would be washing clothes, and I would help her because she got to take the baskets down. And that's sometimes when my dad would tell me go to my grandmother's house, and then I would help her take down the baskets, and then help her hang up the clothes. And then she would always sit with her friend Miss Babes, and I would sit on her lap, and then she would just shake her leg up and down, right, as they're talking, and I would just fall asleep. It would be like around this time, 6, 7 o'clock, well, like 5, 6 o'clock, evening time, right, dinner time. Man, that breeze would just feel so good. Just listening to her, you know, when you're laying on someone's chest, the vibration of their voice, man, that's why children go to sleep so quick, because they still remember the heartbeat of their mother outside of the womb, as if they were still inside the womb. So when you put children to your chest, like my aunt she used to do that for me when I used to have, you know, asthma attacks, and I was sick and I couldn't breathe and couldn't sleep and stuff like that. She would just lay me on, like, vertically on her, and my head would just be laying on her heart, and I would just fall asleep listening to her heartbeat. And then the same thing with my granny, just listening to her talk, the wind, breeze blowing, comfortable. Sometimes the fellas will be on the basketball court playing soccer. We call it football, but I'm saying soccer for, you know, international terms. Just be a good time. Spending time with Granny. I wouldn't see helping my grandmother as a chore. I would see it as time to spend, you know, I get to spend time with my grandmother. More time away from my dad in the house and my sister and my stepbrother and stepmother. So I love it. But, you know, if this video resonates with you, leave something in the comment about your grandparents. Tell me something that you remember about them, if they're no longer here, and if they're still here. You know, what are you grateful for before they, you know, before you don't get the chance to say it to them, or before you don't get the chance to experience it or do it with them? Like, what's one thing that you can say about your grandparents?